A report has surfaced claiming that the U.S. Congress has secretly passed a provision tucked away deep within the new Crypto Clarity Act, a startling revelation that has rocked the crypto industry. One that requires Ripple's escrow to be destroyed, so taking 40 billion XRP out of circulation. By requiring Ripple to burn its enormous store of pre-mined tokens, the purported clause hidden away in Section B on page 73 has been characterized as a consumer protection mechanism intended to lessen market manipulation. And if that rumor is accurate, the crypto industry may be about to experience the most severe supply shock in its history. Indeed, supporters believe that the conservative result would be 1,000 XRP. Conservative indeed. Let us inhale deeply. Let's start from the beginning and disentangle the drama from the facts, the rumors from the source, and the fiction from the reality before we all go spending down our savings to load up on XRP. Because even if this story is captivating, we must approach it cautiously and with inquiry. After all, in the realm of cryptocurrencies, it is quite difficult to distinguish between hype and false information. Well, let's start by looking at the alleged disclosed clause. If you picture a weathered legal document being slowly zoomed in on, the phrase mandatory reduction of pre-mined assets would almost glow in red, according to circulating screenshots and forums. The internet went crazy, with Reddit posts going viral, YouTube thumbnails turning radioactive, and influencers jumping on live streams declaring that this was it, the moment XRP holders had been waiting for. Let's halt for a moment and take stock of the situation. Indeed, the Crypto Clarity Act is a genuine piece of proposed law that Congress is currently working on pertaining to digital assets. However, at the time this script was written, there was no such clause in any version of the law. No credible leaks, official government documents, legal drafts, or press conferences have confirmed that Ripple or any cryptocurrency project is being forced to destroy assets. In actuality, in addition to being unusual, such a step would probably lead to constitutional arguments about legislative overreach and private property rights. Why, then, is this story becoming so popular? Easy. It appeals to a long-standing and very genuine demand among the XRP community. The expectation that a significant price increase will result from the removal of the enormous supply that is currently locked in Ripple's escrow. There was more to this rumor than meets the eye. It is based on years of debates, annoyances, and conjectures over Ripple's dominance over its token supply and how that dominance might be stifling XRP's potential for price growth. There have always been two sides to the escrow. Although it provides structured release and predictability, many contend that it casts a massive shadow over XRP's worth. Let's now discuss the true cause of all of this conjecture. It goes beyond fantasy. It concerns the potential breadth of the effects of transparency laws. Approximately 40 billion XRP are held in Ripple's escrow. These can be released gradually up to 1 billion each month, contingent on use cases and market conditions. For a long time, critics have claimed that this arrangement gives Ripple excessive control over the supply and circulation, which might result in inadvertent market manipulation. Regulators have paid attention. Regulatory agencies like the SEC and legislative organizations like Congress are paying more attention to how token distributions impact pricing and volatility as part of the larger movement for transparency, consumer protection, and market integrity. Their goals are accountability, openness, and protection for regular investors. Therefore, even in the event that this burn clause is not present, it raises a very good point. If 40 billion XRP were abruptly destroyed, what would happen? Now let's examine the supply shock calculation. The maximum quantity of XRP is 100 billion tokens. The potential circulating supply would be reduced by 40% if 40 billion were burned. In economics, a price increase occurs when supply falls sharply while demand either remains constant or rises. To preserve valuation equilibrium, the price per token would need to rise even if the market capitalization stayed the same. That's the conservative perspective, though. The optimistic situation, an emotional surge of FOMO would be triggered by the news of a burn. Demand would increase rather than remain constant. Assuming that the price will soar after the burn, many would rush to get XRP before it happened. Let's do a little model run. Assume that XRP has a theoretical cap of the 1,500 billion, with a current price of 50 cents and a total supply of 100 billion. Let's now assume that supply falls to 60 billion. The price must rise to roughly 83 cents even if the market capitalization remains unchanged. However, if demand doubles during a bullish frenzy, the price may rise to 1.60 or higher. Let's do a little more extrapolation now. XRP would be worth 50 if the supply was 20 billion and the market capitalization surged to 100 trillion due to widespread adoption. Additionally, XRP would be worth 1,000 at a 10 trillion valuation, which is roughly equivalent to gold and a 10 billion supply. Is that figure reasonable? That's the arithmetic underlying all the excitement, albeit it's up for debate. The big voiceover moment is about to begin. In accordance with congressional aim to protect investor welfare and preserve market integrity, picture a menacing narrator reading slowly from the leak clause. This mandates that 40 billion XRP coins from escrow reserves be permanently destroyed by Ripple Labs. By moving the tokens to a specially authorized burn address, such destruction must take place within 30 days of enactment, whose distribution cannot be undone or retrieved by any entity. The phrases burn address, irrevocably destroy, and not retrievable simply reverberate in your head. In addition to being passionate and cinematic, the music swells and, to be honest, is most likely artificial. Let's now examine the conflict between Congress and the SEC, which is the next logical chapter. The Securities and Exchange Commission would be, well, enraged if this clause were true in any way. They would contend that this kind of legislative overreach is against established investor protection procedures. The SEC's duties include monitoring market activity and enforcing securities regulations. Concerns regarding due process, the rule of law, and the balance of power could be raised by a unilateral burn order issued without public participation. This would escalate into a full-fledged constitutional dispute. The SEC would argue that it is unlawful market manipulation that was planned by the government itself, while Congress would argue that it is safeguarding consumers. And XRP holders are observing, guessing, and hoping in the midst of this struggle. Let's examine the response from the community. Titles for Reddit discussions include, "If this is true, I'm buying a Lambo." Tweets might range from critical tears to jubilant memes. There are a ton of speculations and price forecasts going on in Discord channels. The overpowering feeling, it's optimism. I hope that after years of inaction and legal disputes, something is finally being done to raise the price of XRP. Disclaimer. Please keep in mind that I do not hold a financial advisor license. These videos only contain content that is meant to be entertaining. Before making any financial decisions, I always advise viewers to do their own research and speak with experts. Many thanks for listening. Please remember to hit the subscribe button and give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. To be the first to know when I post new stuff, make sure you have enabled the alerts as well. I can't wait to see you again in the next video. Be careful.